Okay, we have on that program on the agenda, which is going to be a conversational program. We are going to talk to ourselves. So I want us to drop every weight that easily beset us. Let us drop it now. Let us drop all those 4 means. By the way, by the power vested in me holding the microphone, all the people that are not wearing jerseys, you are going to pay a fine to the youth church. Our pastor is looking at me. Okay, he's looking at the back. They said in dollars, and I know you are capable. So, Pastor, where's our welfare secretary? Welfare, sir. Please, just write their names. We'll collect it after the service. But I want us to have a conversation on something that it's always happening around us. You know, there's this young people, old people, sometimes clashes. When I was younger, my father would always give me advice. You must do this thing. And I'll be like, this old man, your time has passed now. Why are you always, coming to just flex your muscles and you tell me, when I was your age, I did all these things and passed. So now I'm telling you so you don't. And I'm like, at least just be with me in the journey. Don't come and tell me what to do. They didn't tell you what to do. Let me to enjoy myself. If I fall in the ditch, help me up. But a lot of times, there are always these conversations about the older generations. We don't understand some things. Okay, let me be very clear. I'm caught in the middle. I'm in the middle of 2 generations. The younger generation and the older generation. I was going to say the lawyer Goke's generation, but I won't say it. Because, and for me, when I'm talking with the older people, I can see the difference, but it's not too different because my own generation is a bit relaxed. We can be stubborn, but our stubbornness will go and do it somewhere. But you see this Gen Z, I don't understand them. Honestly, me myself, I don't understand them. Because they're a crop of people that, when you say, do this, they will ask you why. And they are not asking you why, they're asking you why like this. So it's not just that, why? It's not that, daddy, why? Daddy, why? And if you don't have answers for them, you will just find yourself, hey, shut up, sit down. And they may go and find answers outside. And so we want to have these conversations. What are the 2 things as a young person that if you want to tell the older people, if you wish to just something that's been on your mind, you just want to have a conversation with the older people, that you think they should understand about your generation, about you, what are the 2 things you would like to tell them? And also for the older people, what are the 2 things you want to tell we, the younger generation? Let me put myself, the younger generation now. What are the 2 things you know that it has been on your mind, this thing is an issue, is a burning issue. But, in the midst of everything, yes, you sit down with them sometimes, but it's not just clear. And you just I wish these people can just understand this small thing, this thing, let them just understand it. So I'll be requesting for volunteers, but like one of my boss would do, if you don't volunteer, we pick a volunteer. So I need volunteers. Yeah? No. So we're going to pass the mic, but if you can come forward, you can come forward. I don't mind if you can come forward. If you want me to come and meet you there. But I want us to just have this conversation. Okay, let me start. For the younger generation, I'm talking to the Gen Zs now. You like to have things your own way. You like to do things. I'm going to expose. I work with the youth leadership in the church. And then there are some people that when you send a message, you have to call them. They will tell you, I don't check WhatsApp. My phone is, my WhatsApp, this is on silence. I'm always like, But we sent a message to the group, so I will now call you personally and be telling you what I said to the main group. But that's the way they work. But I'm trying to find out, like, sometimes I'm always like, why not they stress me now? And I'm trying to understand it. Like, can you people just be normal? Like, can we understand that part of you that is, at least just be comfort? We're not asking you to conform to our this, but at least try to understand us too, understand our struggles. Yeah. And then for the older generation, you people are always, try not to be declarative. You're always, this is what you should do. Or no, sometimes they'll say, this is what I think you should do. Whereas they're not really thinking, they're telling you this is what you should do. So the day you don't do it, they'll not say, but I told you. Try to be prescriptive a bit. Try to understand us. That we are younger. We are also trying to, you guys have been able to understand life to a bit. We don't understand. We are trying to figure it out. So don't give us from that point of, I've been there, I've done that. Just explain things to us. If we agree with you, because a lot of things that my father said when I was younger, when I'm older, I can understand it now and say, okay, this was what that man was saying. But at that time, no, let me enjoy myself. Let me make my own mistakes. So, are we having any volunteers? Pastor, you will talk last. I'm looking for that volunteer. You must talk. Mommy too, I'll give you the mic. So, volunteers. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. I also, like he said, find myself in the middle. They call us the middle children. We're in the middle of the Gen Zs and the older people. Let's put it like that. So we kind of were in the middle of, we were before the internet era, and we're also in the internet era. But the Gen Zs are just the internet era. So there can always be a clash there. Now, you said we should ask two questions to the older generation and to the younger generation. So I'm going to do that for both sides. My first question to the older generation is, when you guys tell us this is how we should go about certain things, or this is how we should do something, or this is how we should proceed with certain actions. When you were told this when you were our age, how did you react? And how did it make you feel that somebody was trying to impose their will on you? I understand that back then, you guys didn't really question your parents much. It was this is what you will do and this is what you have to do. But we are now in the era where we kind of have a voice like, okay, mom, dad, it doesn't work like that anymore. So we can do it a different way and still succeed. For example, every parent wants you that time to be a lawyer, to be a doctor, now you can be a social media influencer and make way more money than a lawyer. You can be a musician and make way more money than a doctor. So the conventional approach has changed. So my question again is, how did you react? I want to know how you reacted. Did you react like me, if you're being honest? Because sometimes I find it that parents will say, oh, when I was your age, my mom used to tell me this and I would listen. But if you go to your grandma and you ask her, when you told my mom or my dad this thing, you say, that one, she's not used to hear word, but now you are saying I'm doing the same thing. So how did you react? I want to know how you reacted. And I want you to put that into consideration when I'm reacting a certain way as well. That's number one. That's to the older generation. And to the younger generation, you see these ones, I don't even know where I'm going to start with, because I get that we, the millennials, were stubborn, we have our own, we're also stuck in our ways. But you see these Gen Z, everything is fight. With them, everything is fight. It's not even up for conversation. It is me versus you, win or lose. I want to ask you guys, why is that? Is there something that has been done wrong to you? Have you experienced some sort of childhood trauma? Or like, why is it just always, why can't it ever be okay, let me relax and think about what this person is saying, because he might actually have a point. So I think those are my two questions, and I don't know, maybe people can answer from both demographics. Thank you.
Thank you. We have 2 volunteers from the Gen Zs. So we need 2 volunteers from...
So they need to answer the question and then answer
Yeah,
their own question.
that's what they want to do, I think. Okay. So, this one is already bringing fights.
Good day, everyone. So, to answer your question, I believe that...
Why did you go and meet your mommy?
No, I believe that when it's a different thing when you're trying to talk to your children as opposed to when you're trying to control them. I feel like the millennials, they try to guide us and control us with the same principles that guided them 20, 30 years ago. And times are totally different. Let's be real. So it's a different thing if you are trying to tell me something and then we'll talk about it, as opposed to you saying, stop, sit down. Like I'm not a dog. Human beings are people that should be related with and talked to. And I feel like if you know, my mom is different. My mom talks to me, so I'm proud of her for that. But like, if you're trying to make someone understand why something is wrong, you tell them why it is wrong. Or you tell them why they should stop. The thing with parents these days is that they just tell you to stop, and they don't tell you why. That's why you see children nowadays, they go to clubs, they go and drink, they smoke, because they want to explore. Why is my mom telling me not to do this? She's not telling me why. So I might as well go and do it. So if you actually have discussions with your children and tell them why they shouldn't do things and why they should do things, hear their point of view. Be open to criticism. Don't think your way is right. You sit them down, talk to them, they understand, you have conversations, and then you come to a consensus. That's different from saying, shut up, sit down, you are not going, case closed. That's what gets children tired. It's like, that's what gets us angry. Because it's like as if we're living life for you. We're not living life for ourselves anymore. So I feel like that should be talked about.
Your own question.
Thank you.
Do you have a question for the older people?
Question for the older people.
Yeah.
I have plenty of questions. Okay, this is one of the things that older people don't get. This is not a question, this is just a statement. It's about music. And I know they're always like, don't listen to this, don't listen to this, don't listen to this. And it's like, most Christian songs to Gen Z people, when we hear them, we don't even know the meaning. We hear Yoruba songs, we hear Igbo songs, Kaduna songs, different songs from the Christian gospel, whatever. We don't know the meaning, but you see us dance to it. So I feel like it's the same thing when we hear some songs, whether it's Davido singing, Whiskey singing. If you ask us the lyrics, we won't know the lyrics. But because of the vibe, whatever, you see us dancing, and then parents look at us like, this guy's a wayward child. See the way he's dancing to Davido, dancing to Whiskey. And most times, it's never like as if we're relating to the song. It's just more of the vibe we get, which is the same thing for gospel music. So yeah, that's just another thing.
Okay. Thank you. We have one more from the Gen Z. Or should I take a Gen X? Do we have any volunteer from the Gen X, please? No volunteers. Should I pick? Should I pick?
I want to pick somebody. I know he works with a lot of young people. He has a game show that a lot of young people
No need. I already know.
He was my boss, so you have to give him that.
Hello, sir. We greet you, sir.
What part do you want me to talk about now?
You can either answer our question or you can ask your own question on the younger people. Why did they do what they do? Because I know you work with a lot of young people. At least you have worked with me. And I give you a lot of trouble.
Well, a lot has been said. But I think for me, what I found different with the older generation and the younger generation is that a lot of time they want to experience, I think, what you experience. And like you said, when we are growing up as well, some of us have experienced some challenges, and that makes us stronger, really, as a person. So sometimes when you try to prevent them from making mistakes, having their own experience, you're not really helping them. When you look at it from that perspective. So it's good sometimes that you try to them and them to live their life the way they want to live it. Then two, for me, it's a question as well. Like he said, the aspect of being forceful with how they engage their parents, in sharing their ideas or express themselves. Because sometimes, a lot of times, you see that they just want to fight, and get their way around things, And for me, it's good to have strong will. It's one of the key characters that will help you to succeed. But at the same time, I think it's always good to engage people and have some effective communication. Something that at the end of the day, both of you can learn from one another. Because really, as a parent, we can learn from our children. Like he said, the present time is not like our own time. So it's always good for you to listen to them as well. And for the music, it's entertainment. So I agree with him. Sometimes you listen to music not just because the lyrics, it could be the rhythm, it could be anything, but not letting that, how would I put it, the lyrics now affect you. I think that is very, very important so that you don't start singing that song, and before you know it, you start misbehaving, But it's good to allow people to explore, but at the same time, you have the Word of God to guide you, because the truth is that when you are filled with the Word, there are some things that you won't just flow with, There are some things that you just flow with, because once you hear the lyrics, like some of the chorus, you're like, no, I don't fit into this, So sometimes, just allow them to explore.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hi.
One Gen Z.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So a lot has been said, and I feel like Tishe has really covered the whole thing. But one thing I want to say that I think that the older generation does not realize is that patience is a learned trait. And, youth comes with passion and exuberance, and you are in a different stage in your life. The reason why you have patience is because you learned it through your experiences. For example, now, when a baby sees a hot kettle, the baby doesn't know yet that, this thing is harmful. It has to first touch it, even if it's for a second, before it realizes that, next time I shouldn't touch that thing. So I should wait for it to cool down before I touch it. So basically, my whole point is patience is a learned trait. You don't just expect young people to have the same amount of patience you have when you have had way more experience with life in general. So that's one thing I feel like the older generation needs to remember as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, we have one Gen X.
Thank you, George. I want to...
I think she has a prepared speech.
No. I was just noting some of the points. Yeah. Okay, so what I would speak from experience. I realized that there is no one size fits all, and the kind of relationship we have with our children when they are growing up really matters a lot. So I have adults as children, And I realized over time that God just helps me to move from one phase to the other. So when they were children, the way I related with them was different from the way I related with them when they grew older. So when they grew older, it was more of conversational with them to get things done. When they were younger, it was instructions. And one of the things that I diligently did when they were growing up was to bring them up in the Word of God. Even when it was not convenient for me, I made sure we did morning devotion, night devotion, And when I have things to correct about their attitude, I wait for the time of devotion. When we are reading the Word of God, I give them opportunity to express or explain what they understand, and I chip in the attitude that I want them to change into it. And that way, we were able to build character along the line. And it got to a point where when I correct them with the Word of God, it is more painful than picking the cane. So that is very important. And talking about lyrics, right? The Word of God says evil communication corrupt good manners, right? So we know that some of the songs that people hear or people sing is not inspired by the Spirit of God. And it is only when you are in your quiet time you know that these songs has ministered in your mind. Because sometimes when you go about and you think a song is just, you are just listening to it, you just find yourself humming these songs unintentionally. So that is why it is very important to mind the kind of songs that you listen to. A lot of times when I am spiritually low, right, I tell you that when I hear my children, maybe the song they listen to chant songs, to build spiritual capacity. When I hear the song they sing, it is, and this is just the truth, it helps me to recover. You understand? So, and this is talking about iron sharpening iron. Because you realize that the work that you have done is like the seed that you have planted. You are now eating the fruit, thereof. So this is what I see happening to me, that this, by the grace of God, sometimes they will just come and, I get a lot of exhortations, a lot of prayers, and, you spoke about getting accountability partners and people to pray with. I have that support system in my children. Do you understand? So it is very important, and talking about control, it is counterproductive when you control children of this age. Very counterproductive. So what I adopt is conversation. When I see something that is not right, I bring them into conversation. For example, I don't like plates being left unwashed over the night. When my children leave plates unwashed over the night, I go there to watch. When it comes to the morning and they come and see the plates washed, right? Oh, mommy, thank you. That is when I have the opportunity of bringing in the correction. Things like that. So then talking about patience, that patience as a trait is learned and other characters being learned. Sorry, I'm taking a lot of time because of what I've listed from different people's. Sometimes I get impatient with some of my domestics, some domestic staff, and my children come to say, "Mommy, you are not patient with this person." In fact, my daughter told me last in December, said, "Mommy, you sounded mean." She told me, "Mommy, you sounded mean." In a way, that could sound insulting, and I could have taken that, But when she said I sounded mean, I took that, I embraced that feedback first and explained why I did what I did, right? Before I now corrected her that the way she put it, or how she, what she said could have been put this way, and she apologized. So, So thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you
Thank
very
you, ma'am.
much, ma'am. Thank you. One more Gen X.
She practically said everything I wanted to say, but then I have a question and I have a comment. Please, Gen Zs, why do you always put your phone on? Is it BRB or BNB? I don't know what it's called. DND. Really? Is that it? Why do you put your phone? Where are my kids? Why do you put your phone?
Mommy, louder for the people at the back, please.
Please, why
Louder.
do you put your phone on DND? Because we can't call you. You can't call you first hand and you will pick. It will go into, as if the person is on your contact, and then you call again and it goes, and then they don't pick. That is frustrating. Okay, my comment before they talk. Like she said, over the years, I was kind of dictatorial. I want it this way.
Tisha is nodding his head.
When they were below 20. When they were below 20. No, we are not having it this way, and I'm gone. Because I'm old school raised. My mom will move her eyes, and it puts me in line. And I want my children raised like that. I want to be able to look at you, in the public, correct you with my eyes, and you take to the correction, pronto. No questions asked. But I realized that, my son will tell me I'm 20. They will remind you as if you don't know their age. Sometimes, I was in last week or 2 weeks ago, my son corrected me while I was driving. Mommy, you didn't raise us like that. You told us not to use swear words. You'll be driving, you'll be telling some people. I said, no. I took it in. I said, okay, correction taken. Me before. Because I realized that when they start growing older, and then you are still authoritarian, they become rebellious. They become rebellious. And as for the music, I don't care what the music is saying. I don't want it played. Do you understand? Because whether you like it or not, once you play it in your room, and they don't play low, they play high. And then it gets into my head. Do you know the song doesn't leave my head in 2 days? Whether you like it, I don't know whether it's devilish. It just keeps ringing in my head. And sometimes I'm in the kitchen, I'm miming it. I say, come on, Tosin, stop. So we have reasons as to why we don't want some songs played in the house. When you get your car, you can blast. But when I'm in the house, we don't play some songs. These are the reasons. And please answer us, DND, what is that?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, Pastor, you have something to say, sir.
Okay, they've not answered the end. Do not disturb.
Okay, good morning, church. Very, very interesting conversation. So I think I want to go back to two things. My father died in 2020. Before he passed, he kept on wanting to tell me things. And every time he wanted to talk to me, I would tell him, Daddy, stop, just stop this thing. I'm not ready for it. Just stop it. I'm not ready for it. And I'll walk away. Every time he tried to tell me, let me tell you something. Just come, let me tell you something. I would always push him away. I would always say, Daddy, listen. He still told me some things, but I don't think he told me. He died during COVID. So when he got ill, we went to Dubai. He wanted to see all his children. He wanted all his grandchildren. He wanted this, he wanted that. And he has spoken about it for many years. And so I decided on his birthday, let's do this thing for this guy. Let's do this. So I did everything. He flew business class. In fact, what happened was my mom was supposed to go to London for treatment. And I said, my mom is going for treatment. And my dad said, why would you send your mom? What happens to me? Who will cook for me? Who will do this? Who will do that? But we're doing all of these things for my dad. Everything we planned was for my dad. Every single thing. But we masked it up that the man had no clue. My sister, my brother, everybody in the UK, everybody here. We're not doing it in the UK. We're doing his party in Dubai. Everybody was coming. All his grandchildren from wherever they were coming. He has grandchildren in Malta. He has grandchildren in China. They were coming. Till today, I regret so many things. And, I get emotional when I go into this. Because I regret so many things. My friends called me up that, hey, you're doing something, we're coming. But why? COVID just came. We had been planning this in 6 months before. So COVID came in between the plans. He died in March. We went in March. Okay. And why am I saying this? So my dad, obviously, is like the old... Where do I belong? Sorry. Gen X. Gen X is from when to when? From when to... You people are talking about this thing. Tell us when. From which year to which year? 1950 upwards. Okay. If you're 50 upwards, you're Gen X. Okay. I'm Gen X. No problem.
1965 to 1980.
Okay. No problem. So, my dad was like authoritarian. He was like, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. But, we grew up at a time when you want to, okay, at least I'm middle class. So we grew up when you could make a call from your house. We didn't have mobile phones. So you, Gen X or Gen Z or whatever you call yourself, we didn't have mobile phones. What we had was these phones where you do like this. Up till now, my passwords are based on my phone number. Our phone number when I grew up, my passwords are based on it. So when I'm changing my PIN for my DSIM, I will combine that number. And you wait, it will this thing. That's how we grew up. We didn't have mobile phones. My dad will say, don't go out, don't do this, don't do this. We will go out, we'll do that. In our time, I could go out and I'll ride bicycle from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock. Bicycle, I will ride it for about 3 or 4 months and come back home, no issues. Today, my children my children were a bit younger. They couldn't go from here to there because I wouldn't let them go. What am I saying here? Everybody is saying, don't tell us this, don't tell us this, don't tell us that. My father wanted to tell me many things. I didn't let him. He passed away. He was in hospital for 8 days. People say they were with their dad and he said certain things to them on his dying bed. I didn't get that opportunity. I didn't. When he tried to speak to me, I will push him away because that is not your time. Don't tell me anything about when I go. Remember this. No, don't tell me any of that. It's not. I don't want to hear that. You're still here. You're still hearty. Now, I caused his death. I say it in a way that because if I didn't take him to Dubai during COVID, will he catch COVID? Will he pass away? He wanted all his grandchildren there. Everybody came but one. My father was limping. He was jumping in Dubai like this. Jumping up. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. He was limping. If I show you a video of my father when he saw everybody because it was a surprise. He got to Dubai. He's going to London. I don't want to go on. But what is my point in all of this? I cannot teach you what I don't know. It is only what I know I can teach you. Don't expect me to be a Gen Z father that says, you go somewhere, somebody's on this phone. For 5-6 hours, you're on your phone. Because you're Gen Z or you're Gen what? What's the point in that? You're Gen Z. I traveled to London for Christmas. My second son came to pick me up at the airport. He comes there. I have 4 bags. I went to my mother. So his grandmom was there. We had 4 bags and 2 this thing. His car is one of those, you do flash cars now. You don't do practical cars. You do, your car is, sports car, this. So he comes. And we brought fish. The grandmom brought fish. She wants to do this. He says, Dad, I don't like fish. What's this? This is at Heathrow Airport, guys. I speak highly of my children. Don't get me wrong. But when they step out of line, of course, Dad, you know I don't like fish. How am I going to put this in my car? Oh, no, Dad. My son is 6'8". So this is Heathrow. Imagine a 6'8" guy. Just imagine it. 6'8" guy with me, with my white beards. He is there. Then his grandmom, this side. And we're in a car park. And we're there for like 5 minutes in the cold. All we're talking about is that there's fish in the luggage that is going to stink his car out, and he doesn't like fish, and so how are we going to do this? So I said, son, you know what? I don't have time for all of this. Take your grandma home. Give me the fish bag and this other luggage. I will go by train. My mom starts to cry. Now, my mom is another generation. So I'm saying this so that we all just take your own perspective. Whatever you want to take out of it, you take. You are a Gen Z. So you feel your mom is not doing it right. You mean if I tell you this, my son goes on air. He's a musician. He goes on air. And he said, what made you get into music? This says my mom, this, my mom, that, my mom. But you're a graduate. Yeah. What did you study? Chemical engineering. Oh, I just did that for my dad. So he goes on air. His mom is a nice, everything. The mom is a good one. The dad is the one that forces him. I don't care. I just do not even care. My own is, yes, you've been trained. You are Gen Z, you're Gen X. Next generation will come and they say they are Gen XX. Gen Alpha. Okay. Are you saying that when you have children, you're not going to train your children in a particular way? What is it that we are saying? What is the point? So I speak to you and I tell you, son, don't do this. Don't do this. In London the other time, it's crazy. A 14-year-old guy goes to school and at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, a 14-year-old guy is stabbed on a bus, a double-decker bus. How? How? Please tell me how. You want me to, you're a Gen Z, so nobody talks to you. You're a Gen Z, so if I tell you don't do this, you don't do this. How? How? I don't get it. We're talking about somebody that is 14 and I can't tell you what, I cannot tell you at 14 that don't do this because you're in a different world. Because when you go to school, they tell you something different. They tell you have to pick everything from the internet. What is it? Where are we going? Let's call a spade a spade. So, I can only teach you what I know. I can only teach you in the best way I know how. You know, my son telling me fish in the car. This is somebody that I would finish work at 5 o'clock, be running somewhere to come and pick you from kindergarten because I don't want to pay the extra 20-pound charge. If you go late to pick your child from kindergarten, you have a 20-pound, about 15 minutes, oh. I will sacrifice all of this and you tell me because of fish, you can't carry me your car. Because you're Gen Z or you're Gen Z or you're this, or it's not my time, it's not. Come on. So please, as we speak about these things, let's try and think beyond and think beyond or think ahead, whichever you want to do, because they all have, I spoke about my own as well, how I think I maybe despise my father or whatever, that's my own. I'll have to live with that one by myself. And you all will have to live with your own. If you like, when your mom says, don't do this, tell her, mommy, what do you know? You this. Now you're sabi. If you have your own kid and your kid tells you the same thing, please think about how you feel. Think about how, as you are Gen Z, your Gen X, your Gen Z, just think about it. Thank you. Pastor.
Thank you, sir. We have one more, then Pastor will round up. So this is I don't know if it's a counter, but this is from a Gen Z. I love this.
Good morning, sir. So, what he said is very correct. It's very true. But at the same time, no one is saying you shouldn't train your children. There's a difference between, because this is everyone's first time of living. I feel like we have to understand that. And you have to allow people make mistakes. That's what, and this is not for the parents. I'm sure the parents here are good parents, but there are some parents that train their children like animals. Not here, but they tell them, sit, stay, and I'm coming back. And you expect the child to be a robot without feelings, without thoughts, to just sit down. Like, that's not how human beings work. This is my opinion. Some Gen Zs might have different opinions about it. So what we are saying is, parents, we're not saying you don't know anything. You know a lot. But by all means, you don't know everything. And this is a new era. This might sound weird and cliche to say, but this is a new era, and I can guarantee that the Gen Z people here know a lot more about what is going on today than the millennials here. About what's going on today. Now, if we're talking about experiences, things that you guys have experienced, that's good and fine. Those times are not these times. You can give me you can tell me what you want to tell me, yeah? And as my mom, you are my mom, mommy, anything you tell me, if you tell me don't do this now, you instruct me. Exactly, I won't, because it's out of respect. You get what I mean? Even if I disagree with her, she's my mother. She tells me what to do this, I don't do it. But that doesn't mean I don't disagree with it. Now, what I feel parents should do is bring out that disagreement. Let us talk it out. The instruction might stand, but hear people's point of view and understand that at the same time, we are youth and we are still getting to know life. We're still getting to know the world around us. And it should help us and guide us to understand it, not shield us. Because some parents these days are limiting their children. There's so much potential outside that parents are not allowing their children to explore. And I feel like that's something that we need to work on. So yes, I agree with you, sir, on that. But there are still things we need to consider. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have more time? More time? Yes. Okay.
All right. I just want to drop 2 lines. First is, be their friend. I think that's the first thing I want to add. Be their friend. That's the only way you can break that barrier of communication. Then the 2, I remember when some of us are growing up. So, I try to break the table now. We all listen to Fela, Sonny Ade. Sometimes they don't have clean lyrics. But we learn lessons from all this music. So I don't totally support when you said you want to stop them from playing. There's what we call creative act. There's how you appreciate people that have used their creative mind, to create something. If you listen to Fela, there are a lot of things you can learn. That's why the fact that, we know that he smoked weed, But there are some things that he talks about government, and another person is Bob Marley. Yeah, Bob Marley. There are some things that you listen to in his music, and it's like someone that is seeing the future. And up to now, some of his music are still relevant. So for me, I don't believe that you must tell them you can't listen to this music. Over time, they will learn, they will know what, like I said, the word of God that is in them will tell them that sometimes when you know yourself, you can say, no, this don't flow with me. There's some music you listen to, like Michael Jackson and all that. Sometimes you listen to those lyrics and you're like, but the rhythm of those songs, and they can get, like he said, some of them, they can be influenced and become a musician in future. And, so for me, I just want to say, be their friend. That is the only way you can get that communication to them.
Yes, sir. Please, I want to correct something. I'm not saying, because I listen to some music. I love, please, Tisha, remind me now. I might not know their names, but I love some, secular music. I listen to them, but there are some that are really, really terrible.
Vulgar.
Really, really terrible. Those are the ones I'm talking about. There was a time I did a video. I was in a party, and I did a TikTok video. Obviously, I didn't know what music that was, and I recorded it, and I posted it. And I noticed my phone was buzzing. people were calling, people were sending me messages. And I went out to, what's happening? They said, Tosin, that is not you. Did you listen to that music under your video? I said, no. Like 5 people said the same thing. This is not you. Go listen to it. Delete it now. When I listen to it, shame catch me. Honestly, I said, what? No. So that's what I'm talking about. And whether you like it or not, those things, they stick. No matter how terrible, it will stick. And you just be humming it. Unconsciously, I don't, no. Sometimes I tell Bolu, do you know this music? I've been singing this music, and to get it off your head is difficult. So the best thing is to just avoid it. And then finally, as much as we would want you to explore Gen Zs, I know it's good for you to explore. I know it's good for you to go experience things. But do you know some people do not survive this experience? Some don't survive it. I've seen people lose their lives. I've seen people lose their identity. I've seen people lose what they stand for in life because they want to explore. In the name of, I want to go to the island and hip-hop, hooray. They are always on the third mainland bridge, flying up and down. The music is on the highest. Most have lost their lives. So as much as we want you to explore, we will do it with precautions. Praise the Lord.
Thank you. Our last speaker, just a minute, and then our father.
Okay, so I just want to speak to what my uncle here said about his son. And I want to say that if it was his friend, and I know you're his father, you're not his friend, but I'm just speaking to like tone and stuff like that. There is a way his friend would have spoken to him at that airport that he would have carried that fish in his car. And this is somebody he met along the line of life. You have been there from the very beginning. So I feel like there's a way you could have still, let him know. The whole thing you said to us now about, the sacrifices you made for him, stuff like that. There's a way you could have put that in dialogue that even the guy would think and say, Mama, Daddy, let's go. Let's put the thing, let's go. So sometimes it's just the tone. The tone really matters. That's one thing I feel like, is lost in translation. So that tone is really important as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So please, I'm just going to just be 1 minute. Please understand that I'm speaking here about a 10, 15-minute conversation in less than a minute. So you could take things out of, it could sound somehow, which it was not meant to be. I can tell you for nothing, my son's friend will never carry fish in his car. I can tell you that for nothing. It would never happen. I can tell you that the fish matter, even I didn't know that he hated fish that much. That much. But whatever the case, my point is this, whatever the case, there should never be a situation where you dislike something so much, your parent comes and says, son, let's do X, Y, Z. Never be, this is my point, never be a situation where that occurs. It should never happen. So that is my point. And when it comes to saying dialogue, being a friend, look, I joke, I clown with my children. I do silly things with them. So we have fun. And they're not bad children. I'm never standing here saying they're bad children. But when somebody steps out online, he steps out online. And you call it out. It's very simple. Doesn't mean it's bad, but it's just out of line. We're saying this in context here about the topic that we're discussing. Okay? Thank you.
Lord, I think we deserve a round of applause together this morning. Not only for this very engaging session, and I just whispered to Kule that this has to be done formally, okay? this engagement is important because if we don't get it right, we risk the future. That is a hard reality. Praise the Lord. And so I'm glad that this exchange is as hot as it is amongst the different generations, because there are 3 generations here. There's the millennial, the Gen Z, and then the Gen X, like us. All right. I think what is important is this, that, and it's been spoken to by everybody, first is establish a rapport with your children. There has to be that level of communication that you must have. The days of dictatorial behavior or parenting, those days are gone. Unfortunately, they are gone. We were victims of that. I call us victims of that because who dare you say to my father, what are you saying? You use love to decorate your your face and reset your brain. Okay, that's the thing. But I think I need to just drop something, and Dickness Tosi alluded to it. There's a proverb, and our Gen Z will say, "Here we go again." Okay, but it is still a truth. There's a proverb that says that what an elder will see sitting down, a child standing on a pedestal cannot see. Okay? They're saying this to me like this. Okay. Now, the reality is this, and I'll give us 2 instances as we wrap up. Instance 1, I had a conversation with some young people someday about tattoos. Okay? And it was a very, very animated conversation. Okay? And they were telling me this Christian person has tattoo, that Christian person has tattoo. And I said, fine. But I then asked them, and this is a question I asked a lot of people when I discussed. I said, how much do you love your vision in life? They said, but Daddy, I love my vision. I said, great. If you love your vision that much, can you tell me 3 top people who run large corporates in the world who are tattooed? And he was trying to rack his brain to give me some names. After I came, he said, but some of them may wear it under their collar or wear it. I said, the day you go for a strategy retreat and they see it on you, they mark you down. There's something called palace protocols. Okay? And while you are still not in control, don't pretend to be in control. Let me repeat myself. While you are still not in control, don't pretend to be in control. You can say Mark Zuckerberg wears T-shirt. Go and find out. Before he became who he became, was he wearing T-shirt? Okay? Once you have become, you can wear anything. I can wear shorts. Okay? You might not like my shorts, but you can't do nothing to me. Okay? But if I'm still growing and I choose to wear shorts, I might never recover from that shorts for the rest of my day. So I asked them the question, do you want to remain on the shop floor all your life, or you want to get to the top? So no, I want to get. I said, then there's a protocol to follow if you want to get to the top. You may not like the protocol, okay? You may hate it. It may not fit into your Gen Z lifestyle. But if you want to go up, the people who are gatekeepers in that place will shut you down. And you now look like, after a while, you get frustrated with life. I've been trying my best. Now, it's because there are gatekeepers along those corridors. And the gatekeepers are not your generation. And they won't be your generation. They will always be 1 step or 2 steps higher than you. And if you don't fit into the protocol of that place, you will never get there. That's one thing I need us to understand as Gen Z as we are. It's beautiful, it's nice, but ask yourself, how passionate am I about my vision, about my future? Do I want to get there, or do I want to remain on the shop floor? That's one. Second one, and this happened to my sons and I, for us to learn that these things, when we say it's not because we hate it, it's about air. Okay? Whether it's Afro or it is, and I've shared this before. Okay, they came and I went to pick them up, and God helped me that night. One was with me, the other one was there. So I stopped the driver. I said, let the 2 of them come with me. And the 2 of them were in the car with me. Ikeja here. This Ikeja, Obafemi Awolowo way. Policemen jumped on the road, cocked their guns. And I'm like, what's it? I didn't know that they had sighted us from afar and they had seen the hair. And as far as they were concerned, they were Yahoo boys. They were Yahoo wherever, and they were cocking their guns. So I had to wind down to say, gentlemen, what's the problem? And I said, they are my sons. So the one that was reasonable, thankfully, was the one that I spoke with, because the other one who was a bit gra was still in the front with his gun. So I said, I am their father. So I said, remove the hood on your head. Let them see you. Then I say, now them papa drive them. Now them papa drive them. Now them papa drive them. The yeye man still did not leave. So I had to say, guy, what is the problem? Reluctantly, his lung is gone and left. Question, if they were driving alone at that time of the night, anything could have happened. You may say, but that's the way I want to be. But the question is, we live in a world where profiling gets done. And they don't ask for your input when they are doing the profiling. And they don't ask for your input before they do what they would do. And you just wasted, and you are wasted for life. Your families will be the losers. The people you want to show for that I'm a Gen Z, they will mourn you, but you'll not be here. So the issue is you need to realize that you live in a context, you live in an environment, and you are not yet in control of that environment. As long as you are still outside of the control, behave in a way that will ensure that you get control. Until you get control, don't pretend like you're in control. Otherwise, you may never get control. I'll leave it at that, and someday we'll find more time to talk about this. But Gen Zs, please, as much as it's possible, give expression to your creativity. Give expressions to your abilities. We will support you. But just know that there are frameworks that society has created, that if you don't work within those frameworks, you may never, ever become anything important. God bless you.